O'Dowd. Welcome to the Black Hand Communique. Today I'd like to talk about a potential presidential candidate. His name is Bernie Sanders. Now, before you accuse me of just attaching myself to a bandwagon that happens to be trendy right now, I'd like to tell you that there is more to this man, or more specifically, his policies on getting elected, than just being the millennial guy or the trendy guy. There's a reason why he is very successful despite having no super PACs whatsoever, accepting no money from corporate America, banks. And that is not just because of young idealists daring to dream, but actually because of the policy that he doesn't accept money from super PACs or big corporations or banks. And you might say, oh, this guy's unelectable because he won't go kowtow to the crowd. But there is something here that's more significant than that. Okay, the reason that people like Bernie Sanders so much is because he fills a moral or a spiritual vacuum in American politics that was actually reserved for somebody else originally, in my opinion, named Ron Paul, and I'll get to that more in a second. Bernie Sanders is the avatar of American public's anger against the banking and economic elite of this country. And I actually heard Glenn Beck say something that was very intelligent, which surprised me, which is his appeal isn't the socialism. Yes, people like the idea, especially young people, of cheap or free tuition, healthcare that's socialized, getting a piece of the pie for those on the bottom, so to speak. But it isn't the socialism, it's his moral message. And that's a very significant thing, because I actually agree with Glenn Beck on this. The person that Bernie Sanders is most like in American politics is someone who had a completely different vision of what the solution to the problem is, which is Ron Paul in 2012. Ron Paul and the libertarian moment and movement in general that happened at that time, in my opinion, occurred because they were the only part of the mainstream political point of view that allowed for real populist anger against the literal people who caused the recession in the first place. The anger of the American people right now against the elite is not going to be assuaged by offering lip service, okay? This is a very real, palpable, and poignant anger against a class of people who actually stole from all of us and then used our government to bail themselves out, which is completely reckless and immoral, and we're not going to forgive them for it. So you have to so Bernie Sanders is the current model of politician feeling that anger and legitimately, and if you don't mind me saying, authentically channeling it into a real political viable solution. All right? And we see, the thing is, the young, we had no one to rebel against. We got 20 years of these so-called moderate Democrats and so-called moderate Republicans, and they're both helping banks. They're both starting wars. All right? They're not addressing the needs of the young or the old. And then the apotheosis of it all is when they come around and they just destroy the economy utterly and then steal from all of us to bail themselves out. And then they have the audacity to say, oh, we're just going to cut services when the government starts going into debt like crazy because of bailing them out. Who caused the fucking problem? Oh, now we gotta cut services for everyone. We gotta have austerity to be responsible. They fucking stole it all, and they're trying to sell us on being responsible. That's just a class maneuver of the rich and powerful against everybody else. So the Republicans had an opportunity in 2012 with Ron Paul. He offered a capitalist solution to the banks. Don't bail them out. As simple as that. Let them fail. If America's gonna be capitalist, at least let us be capitalist against the powerful when the powerful fail. But what happened? The powers that be controlled the narrative, kicked Ron Paul out of the way, and said, here's Mitt Romney. He's the candidate that you want. Look at him. We can trust him. He's our guy. And then what happened? They lost the election. Now the Democrats have a chance, the last chance, to hone in on that anger, real anger, and give us what we want, which is justice against these megalomaniacal, power-hungry thieves who have seized control of our country and the countries of the rest of the Western world, and thereby the entire world, to pad their own pockets and bail themselves out. And Bernie Sanders is the only guy in the Democrats or Republicans with the record and the plan to actually punish and give justice to these fucking assholes on our behalf. Ron Paul could have done it. Republicans said no. Republicans lost the election. Now Bernie Sanders can do it. If the Democrats don't nominate Bernie and they say no, they'll lose the election too. And then we will have lost faith in both major political parties' ability to self-reform, and you will see not Bernie Sanders' political revolution. You will see the people rise up and cause an actual revolution to occur, because you cannot commit an injustice against all of us and expect us to back out of the way because you give us pretty words. That goes for the Republicans and the Democrats. Give us what we want. Justice against these fucking assholes. Break the banks. For real or else. This is Ryan O'Dowd of the Black Hand Communique saying, go fuck yourself, Banks.